like we're about to find out in roughly 30 to 40 minutes. So, of course, even though we're in the second to last match in the tournament, I should still explain what's going on here. So we're playing Plague Knight, and we're going to be alternating a lot between jumping and bomb bursting, which allows us to move very quickly, left to right, and also gives us a lot of height. So it allows us to pretty much just move through a screen without much trouble, but it does allow for some pretty reckless movement. It's not as easy to control as it seems at first. And we also the thing that's going to be happening is Plague Knight has the largest knockback of any of the playable characters in Shovel Knight. So a lot of the time you'll see people turn around the opposite way so that they get knocked back forward in the screen. And because of all these things, we're going to be watching our health, making sure that we have enough health to do those knockbacks so that we can actually progress the stage faster. So this is the first and only zip in the game. Basically the same area as the bubble zip from Shovel Knight, but we don't need bubbles because we got such good verticality that we can just jump into it instead of having to use bubbles. Basically jumping into an area that teleports you to another part of the screen, skipping a few screens. So now we got a stun lock here. This is some slightly tight timing, but they both got it. We're able to kill them at the same time. So less than a second difference after that first stage, which makes sense. A lot of people have practiced playing down to a science. Yes, we got Flad ready to pounce at his prey. Whoever will win here is facing him, so he's ready to go. Not today, of course, but he's still ready. So moving on to King Knight stage. Got a lot of bits of timing to do here. Some wraths that are kind of random. Other than that, it's a pretty standard stage. Nothing really that complicated to deal with as of yet. There are a lot of. The only real thing is that there are a lot of pits to fall down in this level. Words. There's also an opportunity to get bomb burst, but no one gets it in this tournament anymore. We used to have a couple people doing bomb burst, but there's just no one's practiced bomb burst enough for it to be relevant. Moving on to the books. Books are pretty much not even here. We don't even need to land on them at all because thanks to our abilities to just stay in the air forever. And moving on to King Knight, it's doing a little bit of manipulation, so you can only throw 3 bombs at a time before reset. Sorry about that, I had to go AFK for a quick second, but I'm back now. Won't happen again. Okay, so moving on to Plague Knight stage, which, you know, it's his day. Oh, it's the Spectre Knight stage. I'm dumb sometimes. Anyway, Spectre Knight stage. So this has some progs that we have to avoid. They will hop randomly, and they can get in our way. And there's a lot of dark sections as well that you can see that we just passed through on Tohloo's screen and currently in MooMoo's screen. The dark sections are a problem to casual players, speedrunners who understand what each screen looks like and where they are. It's not as huge of a hassle. Occasionally it can be annoying. There still is that random way of you moving, but other than that, you just kind of deal with it. About these players, Tohloo taking a bit longer than he probably needed to on that screen. Typically, that goes a bit faster, as you saw with MooMoo, but it's hard to tell because of those frogs being completely random as to which way they're going to hop and be in your way. And this last screen here is actually what I was talking about. That screen, you're just in the dark for so long that you can just lose your place after a bit. So for Spectre Knight here, we got what's known as a coin flip, where what we call a coin flip, because we want him to always land on the same side of the screen that we are currently on. Spawn. He has a 50%, obviously 50% chance of each side, left or right, and also 50% up and down, quarter percent for each corner. 25%. So you want him to always stay generally on the side that you are already on, so that you save as much time when you're killing him. So moving back onto our hub world, we see Mona dancing. We get little tiny cutscenes that we generally ignore because they're so short and we skip most of it. But every 3 levels, those do occur in the hub world. So now that we're into Plague Knight stage, which is the character we were playing, so spoilers, we will not be fighting ourselves at the end of this stage. So we are, so you're trying to move the stage at a certain rate so that you hit the pot cycles at a good time. The pot cycles are global. They're these raising and lowering platforms that are on a cycle as soon as you enter the stage, even though we don't see them until this screen right here, Tohloo's screen. And then we also have these fire plumes, which also have a similar idea to them, where they turn on and off in a pattern, and they stay, and they keep doing this pattern all the way from the top, all the way from the beginning of the stage, even though we don't see them until after the Alchemeister fight, which is coming up right here. So this Alchemeister fight, you can generally, the most optimal thing is to get about 5 hits after the transformation. So you can hit it, you can kill him before he starts moving to the left there, and that's also a good indicator. MooMoo getting it a bit faster than Tohloo did. And those are those fire plumes that I was referring to before. Grabbing a ladder from off screen on MooMoo's side there. I didn't mention it for Tohloo by accident. It's hard to see with everything's going on. Okay, so now moving on Tohloo, we can fight Shovel Knight. And we're at 2 health right now so that we could avoid being hit by the stopwatch or whatever. I forgot the name of it right now. I'm blanking on names. But anyway, there's an item that he has, a relic that he has, that will make him invincible. So of course you don't want that, and if you're below 2 health, he won't use it. Oh, Tohloo Shovel Knight is starting to escape a bit. That's not good. You want him to generally just stay in that pit, but Shovel Knight is fighting to stay out of there. He does not want to die. He is shoveling away all of Tohloo's bombs. This is just messy. Oh boy. So Moo was able to get ahead there thanks to Tohloo's Shovel Knight just being a complete nuisance. So moving on to the Iron Whale, we got some underwater physics to deal with, which mainly means that we fall slower and we jump higher. Which does allow for some physics to be something that we're not used to. The bomb burst, though, is the same height, whether you're underwater or not underwater, you know, just normal land. So you can use that as a good way of consistently moving up and down so that you don't confuse yourself with the physics. Okay, and MooMooAkai moving on to the start of the 420 fish. Tohloo's not that far behind. This part is just an auto-scroller. The reason why we call him 420 fish is that once we get to the actual arena, he tends to just stay a bit too high for us and becomes... He just... Look how high we had to get just to get to that hitbox. And now we're in like a weird spot, and if you don't do it exactly right, you end up falling into the 420 fish. It's a bad time. Okay, moving on to the second last screen before we go on the Treasure Knights fight. Sexark's already kind of teasing that we like the numbers here, but of course, no, that just seems kind of excessive. But we do like those numbers, 420 and 69, of course. Totally getting a very good kill on the Treasure Knight there. Moo not far behind. We'll refer to those numbers later. Moo will be probably going to try to get 69 coins by the end of this run, because that is a possible number that we can get. It's pretty simple. Even if you're not paying attention, once you get to the final once you get to the final stage of where there are coins, you just keep track of it and gather as many coins as you need to get to 69. Tohloo's not going to pay any attention to that because he does not like fun. So moving on to the Beetle 1 skip here. Tohloo doing pretty well there. So that screen is difficult, but not for the reasons you think. It's actually because of the lava falling down between those platforms that you have to be timed just correctly so that you don't get hit by those while you're trying to stay in the air. I don't know why Tohloo double back there for a second. Okay, just a couple more screens, and then we got Beetle 2 skip, and then with Beetle 2, I feel it's slightly harder because there is more gaps to fall down in, or wider gaps to fall down. But after that, we get to move on to Mole Knight. So Mole Knight, the beginning part here, you can get about, oh, you missed a hit there. You can get about 2 hits between those flying back and forth. You missed 2 of those hits. This is the one I know the best, honestly, of all the bosses in my mind. And you want to try to kill him before he digs underground. Tohloo getting lucky as to which dirt pile he's underneath. Moo being able to kill Mole Knight before he goes underground. So generally, it seems that Moomoo is actually getting some better luck on these bosses than Tohloo, allowing him to make up the time that he is losing in the stages potentially. We saw it with Mole Knight. Now we saw it with Shovel Knight before. So now we're moving on to World 3, which we are gonna skip ahead. Past all of these, past one of these stages that looks like it would be the quickest selection, which it would be, going to Tinker Knight stage, but instead we're going to go to Propeller Knight stage, known as Flying Machine, which has a lot of other names that I'm sure people in chat will list for me now. So Flying Machine has a lot of hits, a lot of wind to deal with, and the Jawas, of course. So no one wants to deal with these Jawas, and they're pretty annoying. And this is also the stage. Thank you, Pickles, for starting the list. This is also the stage where we'll be getting our one and only item as we fight. First we gotta fight this mid-boss though. So our one and only relic will be a melee weapon, the Staff of Striking, and so it's pretty good to be able to hit melee, to have a melee ranged attack in this game. Even though that typically wouldn't be what you would think. You want a ranged attack, right? No, you want melee, especially because the time between each attack can go really quickly, and it only costs a little bit of magic to do each one. It's about 4, I believe it's 4. I think it's like a bit less than 4 per bar there on the magic meter on the top of the screen. And so we got the triple Jawa room that Moomoo's in and Tohloo just passed by. Not a huge deal, not as huge of a deal in my opinion as this Jawa here that Tohloo's now just dealing with in the auto-scroller section. These players are making quick work of this Jawa, whereas if I were to play this, I would not be able to do that quickly. I'd probably die here a bunch. So I can also talk about the magic here. So if you, I like to think of the magic bar as more of a stamina bar, whereas if you use it all up, like if you bring it all the way down to 0 magic, it will then make it so you can't use any of the magic. That was really tight from Tohloo. So it makes it so you can't use any of the magic until it fills itself all the way back up again. Kind of like what you would see with the stamina bar. Moomoo getting the 1 cycle in that room, as opposed to Tohloo, who had to wait an extra cycle. So now on to Propeller Knight, who has a little shield in the front. Yep, you can only... The projectiles don't always hit him because of a little shield that he has in front of his body. And you can see that melee weapon allows us to kill him pretty quickly. Both of them using a method of killing Propeller Knight that Tohloo discovered himself. So moving on to the mandatory Black Knight 2 fight. So this fight has the same stun lock that we found in the first Black Knight fight, but it has less frame. It's a smaller frame window for you to continue to have that stun lock. And Tohloo's Black Knight is actually not behaving the way he wants him to. You want him to go to the right side of the screen, and he's just, they're both having a bit of trouble with this Black Knight. He is not cooperating today. Okay, so interesting route here. I usually see that people, at least from what I'm used to, see people go to Tinker Knight first after fully upgrading their magic and then going to Polar Knight. It really does not matter too much. I believe it is slightly faster to go to Polar Knight first now, which is why you see both these players doing that. Oh, and Moo not being able to get that little short skip there on the first try. So Moo generally actually being able to stay on a good pace compared to Tohloo here. Tohloo being the one who is expected to win given each player's PB. Oh, and Moo taking a death there. So just ended up underneath the snow blocks unexpectedly, and there was no real way out of there. And that sends him a good of the way back, actually. Oh, and trying to recover his money, he was not able to. He was not able to stay alive when trying to recover his money there, so it just caused another death. Yeah, and now it's the second time you see someone die that way flat. So now Tohloo has a massive lead here, about half a stage. Certainly not impossible to make for those times to be made up here, but it certainly is probably going to take a miracle, at least on Moomoo's side. For Tohloo, you just gotta Moo basically just gotta hope that Tohloo messes up, because you can't really make up the time here on your own. And this screen is causing a lot of trouble for Moo. Being really careful because he's only on one hit on one heart there on that screen. So he was trying to be as careful as possible, and then managing to die on like the last part of that screen. Oh, and Tohloo also taking the death, this time on Finger Knight, so that allows for a bit of catching up here. And now that Moo has a lot more health on the screen, he's not going to have to worry about taking as much damage. Of course, still having to avoid the spikes, because those are one-hit kills. Yeah, there's a lot of screaming going on, because these deaths are in places that are pretty uncommon places to die, except for that one, except for that spike screen that Moo just did it on. These aren't deaths that runners should be having with this much experience. So we got the pseudo Olo scroller from Tohloo here. I mean, deaths are expected occasionally, especially in a marathon, especially in a race scenario, because you got the pressure going on there. Oh, it's screaming from us, Pickles. They're the one doing the puking noises, but luckily we can't hear them. So Moo has now been out of the Polar Knight stage, so he will be able to move on to Tinker Knight now. At the end of this auto-scroller, we now have the Tinker Knight section, the Tinker Knight boss fight, which is a two-phase boss. And this first phase, we actually do double damage to Tinker Knight to make up for that, as a kind of a way to show off the fact, to reminisce back to when in Shovel Knight there's a relic that is a one-hit KO on Tinker Knight's phase 1. So to keep it going just about as quickly as Shovel Knight did. Oh, that was a really close death for Moo, actually. Oh, he nearly died there. And this second phase going a bit slowly here for Tohloo, managing to get those off-screen melees though. Okay, Moo is slowly getting to the end of the boss. Not to say actually slowly, just like behind Tohloo, rather. They're both running fast. As fast as they can currently. So Tohloo is now going to be moving on to the tower stages now that we are done with World 3. We're done with the Knights and moving on to Tower 1. And so Tower 1 here is it's pretty difficult. All the towers are culminations of previous stage elements, so we got a lot of different things we have to avoid here. And we also have a Crusher cycle that is pretty much a force auto-scroller for us at this point. Like, there's a way to skip part of it, but most of this is just auto-scroller. We gotta wait for this. We can't make this section go any faster, nor can we make this section go any faster that Tohloo is currently on. Only section that we can make go faster is right here, where it's gonna look a bit tight, which it's pretty simple to do once you have gotten used to it. Pretty much free at that point. And Moo now killing Tinker Knight. Yeah, it's a good thing that Tohloo Moo has all those tonics, because I'm gonna be needing these now. This chandelier room is a lot harder than it looks, just by the way. Oh! Still taking the death there. Usually you're trying to use some iframes to be able to get through that section, but was not in that state. And the chandelier causing a bit of slight trouble there. So you see how it was supposed to be done that time, utilizing the back end of the iframes from previous enemies so that you are able to land on those spikes and then do a bomb burst afterwards. And now on to Black Knight 3. There is no stun lock for this boss, unfortunately. So we're just gonna have to brute force him. Which means that it becomes even more of a nuisance than it was before. And you also hope that that Black Knight does not teleport. It looks like he's got a good pattern there from Black Knight on that phase 2 where he brings out his wings. And moving on from entrance, we're going to go into ascent, where for the first half of the stage, we are actually descending. Oh, move, don't die, don't. Found himself in a hole and he couldn't get out. Slight problems. Tohloo going through the Merrymaker stage, Merrymaker room there. Call it back because it looks like someone just decided to sprinkle blocks everywhere and just spread them out like you would a like a bad Mario Maker stage. You just put all the just fill the screen with blocks and enemies. Why not? We were getting a pretty good pattern there as well. There is a part where he could potentially teleport from back left to right on the screen, which is an invincible part of the game. So so Black Knight's completely invisible during that attack, and so it just wastes time. And so now this is the final section that Tohloo is on before we have to go into the boss rush, which will be fighting all the bosses that we have fought before this stage. Not including the Black Knights, of course. Just the Order of No Quarter and Shovel Knight, not including yourself. And so because of that, and Shovel Knight's always guaranteed to be the last boss of the Order of No Quarter. And so we want to be prepared, be able to get down to below 2 health by the time we get to Shovel Knight, so that we actually want to be at 2 health exactly due to a stun lock that we want to get. But we also, so you want to be able to get to the exactly 2 health so that you can be ready for the stun lock that you want to get triggered, and so that he won't be going into invincibility states. There are also some minor things, me not knowing them as well, because I don't run this. I don't know this boss rush as well as these players do. But there is positioning that you want to be in, ideally, for each boss. So you kind of try to take a random guess as to which boss is going to be next, and try to be in the right pixel area for it appropriately. Other than Shovel Knight being at the end of this boss rush, the order of the... Oh! We were getting crushed there because he just didn't have enough height to be able to get back onto the platform. So yeah, that was just unfortunate. Moo now actually taking damage. He usually does not. He usually stays at a good amount of health because the boss rush can be difficult to maintain and not get hit that much. You do have the tonics as a backup to get the right amount of health that you want to be once you're in that boss rush situation. So yeah, looks like Tohloo was setting up to be in the right positioning for Synchronite there, hoping, and was able to get it correctly. That's 50-50 shot, and he was right, so good job there. I can kind of tell, like, once the boss spawns, which one they were trying to prepare for. Because, like, especially if it's the right one. Because, like, there, you can see, oh, he's exactly in range for the melee attacks that he wants to get in. And we got 85 coins on MooMoo's side and 70 on Tohloo's side, so another player went for the 69 coins. Oh, and Tohloo got turkeyed at one point. I missed that, I missed that because I was paying attention to MooMoo's screen. But he got turkeyed, meaning he got knocked back into a turkey, so he is now at full health. Cannot do the stun lock that I was referring to earlier. So generally the best approach is actually just to stay at full health, take the turkeys, and just try to attack him down as much as you can. And MooMoo also getting turkeyed. But this a bit earlier in the boss rush, so it could be manageable where he could still be able to get back down to 2 health at the end of this boss rush. I will do whatever means I want. Thank you very much. Yeah, MooMoo getting in those 3 hits. Right on there. So yeah, thanks to us having the step striking, you're actually able to get 3 hits on each path as opposed to 2 hits before. And Tohloo now moving on to Tower 3 here. Oh, that was really close to getting that turkey. MooMoo had to readjust his flight pattern there, just so that he wouldn't hit the turkey on his landing. Okay, so Tohloo now fighting the Enchantress. Let's see if he can get the optimal strat here. Missing a bomb there. But he should be able to go underneath the stage and get it. Yep, there it is. Staff striking, able to finish off the Enchantress. And it looks like MooMoo's not going to be doing the stun lock that I was referring to either. He'll do the beginning part of it, but he won't be able to maintain it thanks to the because the invincibility will be set in eventually. Yep. Well, there's the health regen, which is not quite the same, but there's the invincibility part, which means that you just gotta fight him the same way Tohloo did generally. Just getting as much damage as you can, trying to not get the Shovel Knight to be able to hit your bombs back to you. And Tohloo is currently fighting the Plague of Shadows, which is basically your boss from the Shovel Knight campaign. Plague Knight's fight from the Shovel Knight campaign. But you are playing as Plague Knight, and the stage is rising slowly. And Tohloo now going on to the final boss here, washing machine. We'll see how many cycles you can get this on. You have to hit the washing machine a bunch of times until the mouth opens on the beak. And then it will remain open, and then you can hit it a bunch. And oh, that looks like this might be a 3 cycle. That's not enough hits to be able to get a 2 cycle there. Yep, so we're in a 3 cycle, and also getting that part of the attack, so that's annoying. Okay, so we got Tohloo able to finish out that fight. So yes, the legendary 3 cycle is seen. So Tohloo will be facing Flatter V probably later this week. I'm not sure when they're going to do that. We have not scheduled it yet. But congratulations to Tohloo. Moomoo's still going to finish it out. Making a bit of a safer hole there for Moomoo to get down there to kill Enchantress, but in a bit of a safer fashion, not having to navigate underneath the blocks to get to Enchantress. Okay, so Moomoo just about finishing it up here, take a shadows. I was on another screen trying to see if Tohloo would be willing to do an interview. So I was not able to catch Play the Shadows there. So now we got Moomoo facing the washing machine. Potential 2 cycle here, we'll see how this works out. No, that's a 3 cycle now. Okay. So it looks like we're about done here. Tohloo is not feeling up to an interview. So, I mean, unless Moomoo wants to jump in, we'll see what happens. So, other than that, we'll have for the Derby versus Tohloo for our final match of the tournament. And of course, being that we are in Speed Gaming 4 means that there are plenty of other races going on currently on Speed Gaming 1 through 3, and I'm sure there's going to be some other stuff happening soon as well. Okay, Moomoo does not feel like doing an interview either, so it's just going to be me closing it out. Thank you everyone for watching. Just pulling up the schedule just to see what else is going on today. After this, actually, on this channel is a Super Mario Sunshine race. We currently have Kirby Nightmare in Dreamland on Speed Gaming 2, Sonic Adventure 2 race, Sonic Adventure 2 Battle race is happening on Speed Gaming 3, and Link to the Past Randomizer, of course, on Speed Gaming 1. So thanks for watching. You can join us, I'm sure, I'm gonna guess probably later this week for the match of Fladervi versus Tohloo. You can keep looking at the schedule that we got there that was just posted that speed gaming about a bit earlier, and so you can see whenever we are gonna post what when this final match will be. So thanks for watching, and peace.